project cost is so high because you are building a second road while they're building the culvert. I met with the town administrator today. I'm looking at ways we can get that construction cost down. However, the state is coming back and telling us that there's about $350,000 that they have. This puts, again, $400,000 back on our backs. Even though it's in Wilmington, I don't think Wilmington's going to pay for that. So one project where it has benefit to the Martins Pond area, but it's has some funding challenges. That
should have a significant benefit to our Martins Pond area. Where are we at in relation to Wilmington giving us permission to do it? Is this all a go if we come up with the funds to do it?
Yeah, they've signed off, giving us letters of support. They're on board of us doing the work. Just to let them know.
I'm sure they are. Okay, so the only thing standing in the way now is money.
Money.
Okay.
What I've been
This has been a long time coming.
Let's not give up. Maybe get the construction cost down. Perhaps there's other money to match. I've done flood projects, and there's a million ways to fund it. So this is just initial feedback from FEMA we got last week. So the battle isn't over. This is just the first thing.
Just as far as the timeline, though, as far as getting, you're obviously going to be looking at some other resources that are available, but this has just been an ongoing problem and an ongoing effort in order to address it. And we're finally there. And I think we should, at some point, in the near term, do something to,
Well, again,
when it comes to fruition.
to cut the cost down, another alternative I've seen, take a highway, you get it down to one lane, you put a traffic light in either end, so basically traffic backs up, goes green, people come through, so rather than taking the entire bridge out, perhaps we can do that and cut the cost down.
Pretty close to that light down just before 93, though, in Wilmington.
Again, there are ways to cut the cost down. It might not be feasible, so I'm just brainstorming right now. So, again, the battle's not over. This is just first inning. Another positive thing, upstream of that bridge, in Benevento, there's another bridge. And I guess my feedback through Mike's Oregon is that the Wilmington Conservation Commission, I guess, approved that project and told them we don't want to delay, move ahead. So there's several bridges that block the flow coming down from Martins Pond. This is another one. So it's another positive thing that if it does happen. Stormwater. Have you seen in the papers a couple things happening? What you probably don't know is there's a EPA permit every community has in the United States. It's called the Phase 2 Stormwater. It requires us to do 6 things. I've attached to your sheet the bare minimum we can do. Good news is we're in very good shape for most of them. We need to tweak a few. The first 2 control measures are public participation, public education. Through the Martins Pond organization, other groups that I've seen here, great participation. That's top notch. The third one is I'll talk about. That's a mapping type program and inspection program. The fourth one and the fifth one are bylaws. The community passed bylaws earlier in the year. We're all set with those. The only thing remaining is there's a set of rules and regulations that the bylaw said. I have those. If you need to edit those, it's consistent with everything else that affects the Conservation Commission. That'll come back to you gentlemen for review and approval. The sixth one is Public Works Best Management Practices of BMP. Things like that are we sweep the streets every year. We clean catch basins every year. We take our hazardous waste and properly dispose of it. We don't just dump it out back. So there are things like that that we already do that puts us in good shape. The 2 things you need to work on are, for this fiscal year, there's a requirement to inspect 10% of every drain outfall. And an outfall is the pipe goes and it goes out to the brook, the end of the pipe, that's called outfall. We need to inspect 10% of those per year. We have about 580 outfalls in the community, so we're talking around 58 per year. Round numbers, it's around $45,000. We're seeing if we can do it in-house with our staff. Some of it is the inspection part, and based on what you find, you have to take a laboratory sample, take it to the lab, and do analysis and come back. So some of that we cannot do. So that's one thing I've identified as a possible issue for funding later on. The fines that if you do a Google for this, the fines a lot of communities in Massachusetts will hit with was specifically that one. Not having a plan to identify things that aren't supposed to be in the sewer and fixing them. For example, in Peabody, I found several places where a sewer pipe from home was going into a drain pipe. There's a river that goes from downtown Peabody to Salem called the North River. It's actually monitored by an environmental group called Salem Sound 2000. We found that the measure of contamination was all fecal coliform, E. coli. Basically, we took it from 6 order of magnitude down to 3. So basically, by cleaning up our act, we cut it dramatic results. So usually it's pretty easy to measure, find out if you're doing it. In this town, we don't have sewer, we have septic systems of varying effectiveness. It's kind of driving some of the sewer program as well. So we may find that as part of that process, which may cause us to do other things. Some other things ongoing. We have received a 604. It's a stormwater planning and assessment grant. The local share would be in kind. There's no additional cost. That's work that's being done mostly by the Martins Pond Association and a professor from Merrimack College. That's basically planning out what we should do in the future and where. We also have one ongoing 319 construction grant. So once you do your plan, you put in and get funding to actually execute it. One is in the cleanup stage or finish up stage in the Martins Pond area. A lot of those roads that are Martins Pond are like a dirt road that goes up high. When it rains, the dirt runs into the pond. So basically you install the drainage system to collect the water, or you slow it down so the dirt doesn't run into the pond. It's simple as that. One that we just got notice was in the paper the other day. The DEP in the state has recommended to the federal that we should fund it. It involves work in 3 areas. Some stormwater infiltration in North Street, work at the Hood School, and called rain gardens. If you ever travel around the country, you notice some communities in the country have these ditches on the side of the road. That's what everybody had, and then we decided we want pipes, put the pipes on the ground, all that water goes away. Having those ditches allows the groundwater to basically slow down and infiltrate back in. It's kind of that process, trying to prevent that. That's what a rain garden is, basically a ditch with vegetation in it. So the water runs in, stays for a while, keeps the vegetation alive. Hopefully a simple process, but it's, some of these things are essentially taking the stuff out of the pipe, put it back in the ditch, it doesn't go anywhere. The dirt doesn't run off into the dirt. Big price tag. The grant itself, the work is $300,000. Our local share is about half. Again, that would be, depending if the EPA does select it, would be something perhaps the town or Martins Pond Association will be coming to the town meeting for money. So that's some of the major things I'm dealing with right now. I'm trying to get my arms around snow and ice, budget, finance. Streets is next spring. I'm not even worrying about streets for another couple of months. So we're trying to get our arms around this winter, get it done effectively, and set up our goals going forward. Questions you guys have?
Well, just a comment. I'm impressed with the scope of which you, in a short period of time, have grasped and got your arms around, and I'm very impressed with the analysis on the snow and ice. It certainly will help answer a lot of questions that the board gets from time to time from citizens regarding how much we're spending on snow and ice when we're comparing North Reading to Reading or one of the other surrounding communities. And you know, I think the analysis shows that what Mr. Hannon has said to the board before you, that it's the process and it's not that we're spending on average more than surrounding communities that results in the fine cleanup after a snowstorm. Mr. Ewell?
I think what I'm seeing here is that your willingness and your ability to quantify everything, that it becomes more visual for us and for the general public to understand what you're doing and how you're doing it, and puts a connection to the dollars that are being spent. So thank you. Very good presentation.
A lot of stuff we're probably going to put on the website as well, some of the information.
That's good.
As I dig down, I find another thing. Public Works does a lot of work for other departments, school departments, other people I didn't realize. So that's important to document as well. So they do more than probably you know. And as I dig into it, I find it updating my records.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're running late. Next item on our agenda is the continuation of the public hearing for the common victual and wine and malt license, Gatherings, Inc., DBA, Center Cafe, and I will, at this point, reopen the public hearing.
Yes,
Continuation. Before you start, please. When we finished last week, I think there were two main issues. One was related to getting detailed documentation on the layout of the parking. The other was a report from the police, more detailed report from the police department.
Right, and what I understand, just for the record, that you have received a memorandum from Chief Nolan dated December 2nd, 2009, motor vehicle crash summary for Park and Washington Street locale. And I also understand that you have a letter from Safety Officer Scott Tilton to Chief Nolan dated November 12th of 9. That's what the applicant has been furnished with. I just want to make sure.
That's correct.
Now, I do also understand that they have filed with you the plan that was done of the parking by O'Neill Associates.
That's
Civil
correct also.
engineers and land
We just
surveyors.
received that this evening.
Okay.
We just received that this evening.
Well, it was just
Yeah.
completed. I just wanted to make sure that that's
We do have it.
what you have. I just received it myself, so. Mr. O'Neill. And you can see that is, it has his, Luke Roy of O'Neill Associates has his stamp on the plan. There is one other thing, a group of evidence that we would like to submit to you as being relevant. With all due respect to Chief Nolan and his report, I think you can see that from the report he qualifies it by saying that of the number of accidents that he lists there, that it is impossible to pinpoint the specific locations of these accidents that are listed here, the 41 motor vehicles. And I would submit to you that that qualification robs this report of any kind of basis to be used as substantial evidence that this corner is a dangerous corner. What we've done since the last meeting, we have gone to, and I'm going to have Mr. Del Greco explain it to you, we have gone to the Registry of Motor Vehicle and have gotten actual records of every accident that has happened in North Reading for the past 3 years. And I'm going to submit them to you, but we can tell you, unlike the Chief's report, exactly where each accident occurred, what time of day it occurred, the manner of the collision, and you'll see that we put it in spreadsheet best as we can. But for, I'm going to give you for the year 2005, we have at the corner of Washington and Park 2 accidents for the entire year, whereas on Main Street there were 62. So we're going to submit that to you. As I said, these are Registry of Motor Vehicles records, and they are available to anybody. They were also in 2006. If I may, these are a little unwieldy. There was 1 motor vehicle accident at the corner of Washington and Park, 84 on Main Street. And for 2007, we have, again, 1 motor vehicle accident at Washington and Park and 90 on Main Street. So that we believe that we can show you that this intersection is not really the dangerous intersection that it's perceived. And as I said, we can give you we're going to give you this documentation. This is every motor vehicle accident that occurred in North Reading during these